Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the serious player only Game 1 low. So of course we did have the Game 1 mid. I really didn't understand how this was a mid because it's pretty much a low top shoe. Now I guess it's kind of like a mid here on the medial side, right? It's supposed to be like an asymmetrical heel design or whatever, but this shoe is on sale right now for 138 bucks. I'm not 100% sure what the retail price is going to be on this shoe, the Game 1 low, but also this is the Scorpion colorway, and if you guys didn't know, this is actually Jordan's kind of like PE with Serious Player Only. So he did a collaboration, and he's also a professional dunker, and he has of course his original dunk, the Scorpion dunk, and it's actually right here on the back of the shoe, which is actually really cool. So yeah, if you guys do want to cop, try to leave in the free link in description box. If you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy it through the free link in description box. But yeah, they actually did make some really huge changes. Like if you look at the shoe, it doesn't really look like they did too much, you know what I mean? The overall design is actually very similar, but as far as the tech goes, this shoe pretty much has been gutted, and they changed pretty much everything about the shoe, I guess, besides how it looks, kind of, you know what I mean? So I'm very excited about these shoes. I'm gonna be very excited to try them out tomorrow as well. But yeah, let's get it started right off with the Trachione. So in this colorway, we have a fully black outsole. It's actually not rubber, right? And here in the mid though, we actually had just rubber, and they were saying it's a high density rubber, but they did change up the entire outsole design, right? The traction pattern, they changed it up. So here in the low, we have this kind of like X pattern, right? And then also, I guess here in the midfoot, we have like the Serious Player Only logo, right? Or I guess like the outline of the logo. But this is actually the SPS Ultralight Polyurethane Resin outsole, and it's supposed to be 50% lighter than traditional rubber. And we'll get into weight of this shoe, right? This shoe is extremely freaking light, and also this shoe is made for responsiveness and speed, which is very good, right? Especially if you're a guard, of course. So yeah, this is a polyurethane resin, which is pretty much the exact same as the Easy One, pretty much, right? And the Easy One had phenomenal traction, amazing bite, and also very minimal dust pickup. It kind of sucks that it doesn't squeak that much, of course. I mean, squeak has nothing to do with performance, but for me, I like to have a little bit of a squeak, right? But with the Serious Player Only like polyurethane resin outsoles, it doesn't really squeak that much in the Easy One, right? It's silent, right? And also in this shoe, it's silent as well. But yeah, as far as the bite goes, however, the bite is freaking insane and pretty much feels exactly like the Easy One, right? Just trying it on my wood floors, it has a really nice bite, which surprised me. I mean, it didn't really surprise me. I knew it was gonna have good traction because of the polyurethane resin, but I was like, ooh, this is actually a very hard stop, and it reminds me a lot of course, the Curry Flows, right? It's a really hard stop. Also, it looks like it's picking up a little bit of dust. Like you can see the dust on the actual outsole here, or hopefully it's coming out on camera a little bit, but it was still biting through that dust and still had really good bites on my wood floor. So hopefully that translates over to the actual basketball courts. Of course, the finish for my wood floors is a little bit different from the actual basketball court, but I am very excited. It's probably going to have amazing traction, and also for durability, it should be fine as well. I mean, the grooves are really thick, the grooves are deep, and also the polyurethane resin material is pretty dang hard, and it's supposed to be more durable than traditional rubber as well. So outdoor use, you should be fine as well. So yeah, the traction is feeling really nice so far, pretty much top tier. And that it's different here in the Game 1 mid. The mid, it had pretty good stops, especially once you broke it in, but it did pick up a little bit of dust, right? So I love what Serious Player Only is doing with their outsoles. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, it also feels very smooth, right? So here in the heel, we have a little bit of a curved shape, which of course is great. And also, if you guys didn't know, the pretty much every single shoe that Serious Player Only has a drop-in midsole, right? And they have a separate drop-in midsoles for sale if you want to get extra pairs. So yeah, the thing about drop-in midsoles is that usually the design of the shoe, there's like plastic or something, there's rubber, you know what I mean? It makes it kind of clunky, you know what I mean? Like in the Kobe 9, the Kobe 11, you know, it's a little bit clunky, even in like the Player 1 Plus, right? But here in this shoe, they actually have like a midsole here, and it's an ultralight EVA foam, or that's what they're saying, and there's actually a little bit of compression. It's actually kind of soft here in the heel, so it feels smooth when you're doing heel dominant strides, just like walking, you know what I mean? Which of course is pretty much the same thing here in the mid, but Feeling the actual midsole, the foam here is a little bit stiffer feeling to me than the low. The low is actually quite soft to the touch, you know, so that feels nice. And also your foot is digging into the drop-in midsole, which we'll get into, right? It's their quick 2.0 drop-in midsole. Then here in the forefoot, we got a great curve shape. Look at that. So just from the shape, it feels smooth. Here in the heel, it feels very smooth. And also we have a good amount of forefoot flex, right? It's pretty dang easy to flex, but it actually does return back to normal, like its original shape, but also has a nice kind of like bit of springiness to it as well. Not super springy, of course, but it does feel pretty dang nice. And it also does have a torsion plate, right? So the torsion support feels pretty dang good as well. Better than most shoes with a drop-in midsole, of course. And we can see the plate right over here. There's a little kind of like window here that you can see the actual plate. And again, it's just a P-Bax plate. And then here in the mid, we actually had a nylon fiberglass torsion plate, right, or anti-torsion plate. And this looks a little bit more like carbon fiber. This one just looks like, you know, plastic, you know, P-Bax. So yeah. The heel to toe transition feels very, very smooth, which is very nice for a drop-in midsole shoe, right? And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup is pretty much the exact same, or at least the drop-in midsole is, to the Player One Plus Lite version, right? So they have, of course, their quick 2.0 drop-in midsole, and it's their brand new, or kind of brand new drop-in midsole, besides it being in the Lite version Player One Plus, right? So this is an ATPU foam, and it's really freaking soft, right? So first of all, we do have an EVA arch support, right? So that it does improve the arch support. If you do need a little bit more arch support, this part does raise up a little bit as well. Also, another thing that I really like about the drop-in is that, first of all, they did glue like this kind of like material on top of it, which I usually don't like. You know what I mean? I want my foot to be right on top of the foam, and with this glued down, it's not as soft, you know what I mean? But it's still a really soft foam, and the underfoot cushion is still really soft. But also on top of it, we have this kind of like silicone material, and it's pretty dang sticky, so it does improve the lockdown a little bit, grabs your sock, you know what I mean? So I like that. And also, of course, with the raised sidewall, you do have an extra layer of lateral containment, lateral support. But yeah, as far as the overall court feel goes, it is better than the GAME1 mid, right? So it feels a little bit lower to the ground, but it's still, I would say it's pretty similar to like the Liren 5 V2, right? So it's like a average court feel, right? So it's not bad, it's not great, however, because first of all, I mean, this drop-in midsole is pretty dang thin, right? So if it's just this, like in the Player One Plus Lite version, the court feels really good, right? But of course, we also have another layer of cushion underneath that, right? And they are saying it's an ultralight full-length EVA foam, and it is full-length, it's EVA, and again, it is soft. So it's a really thin layer of EVA though, right? So that does add a little bit more to the impact protection, adds a little bit more to the cushion, which of course is great if you are looking for cushion. So yeah, the Player One Plus Lite version and all the other Player One Pluses, they have really good court feel, but then of course it does lack in the impact protection department a little bit if you're looking for a really good cushion, right? So the GAME1 Low fixes that and gives you a little bit more cushion and a little bit more impact protection at the expense of course, court feel. But again, it's not even that bad for the court feel either, you know, it's average, right? And also another thing, again, right, this drop-in midsole is so freaking soft, right? It's just here in the heel, it's soft, it's bouncy, there's a lot of compression, as well as here in the forefoot, surprisingly. You know what I mean? Like, even though it is really thin, it's still really soft. You can also see the flex screws here in the forefoot too. So yeah, the cushioning setup is really nice. There's also a nice bit of compression here in the heel. Again, shoes with drop-in midsoles usually don't have that feature, but with this, with the EVA cushion and the quick 2.0 drop-in midsole, the heel compression is still pretty dang nice. So the cushioning setup in the shoe is really, really nice, right? And now moving on to the upper. So the upper is really, really thin, and they changed it up a good amount from the actual mid, right? So the mid, how it feels so much stiffer, a lot more supportive as well, right? But here in the low, I don't know why they changed it up so much. Maybe they just wanted like a different feel, but it feels more like a guard shoe. You know what I mean? Like the entire overall shoe feels more like a guard shoe rather than the mid, which is a little bit more like a big man shoe, a little bit more supportive, you know what I mean? A little bit more cushion because it's a little bit higher up off the ground and all that. But anyways, they are using a multi-layered composite material, and it's pretty much like this screen mesh. Like, look at this. It's a really thin plastic screen mesh, has amazing airflow first of all, and it stays extremely thin here in the toe box as well as here in the midfoot as well, but it does feel a little bit more glued down. You got a little bit more kind of like overlays here in the midfoot for more support, right? So yeah, it's really freaking soft, and it has like this really nice kind of like stretchy feel to it. It's just slightly stretchy, but still has like a snug fit in the toe box, so it feels kind of like a sock. It has like a sock-like fit or feel to it, kind of like a one booty upper, you know what I mean, like a long time ago with like a Flyknit material or something like that. So that feels really nice. And also here around the toe box, we do have an overlaying material with this fuse. It does get a little bit stiffer. It improves the durability and also the support as well. And then again, like I said, we do have these overlays, right? And also for the tongue, we have pretty much zero padding. We have a couple of ventilation holes on the bottom of the tongue as well, but it's not well padded at all, right? It's a really thin material. There's a little bit of padding here on top, but again, it's really negligible, right? It's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit, and it's like this really stretchy kind of like neoprene material, which also does help it feel a little bit more like a one booty upper again, right? And also on the sides, we do have these kind of like straps, like these two straps on both sides of the shoe that the laces go through, right? And these straps do turn into the eyelets, and it does add a little bit more stiffness and a little bit more support to the overall shoe as well. And then here in the ankle area, pretty much zero padding. It has very minimal foam here in the back of the shoe, right? And then here in the back of the heel, we have this kind of like holographic material with the like dunking graphic of the scorpion dunk, which is really cool. So yeah, the quality is actually pretty nice. I wouldn't say it's like the best feeling quality, you know what I mean? For example, I would prefer like the Player One Plus material a little bit more, or even like the Easy One with the canvas. And also it doesn't seem like it'll be the most durable, especially here on top, but there are some overlays, so I'm not 100% sure how the durability is going to be. So it doesn't feel the best for quality, but also doesn't feel terrible, right? But it feels really freaking nice on foot. It conforms to my foot. It's thin, it's very minimal, and it also feels supportive where it needs to feel supportive, but soft where it can feel soft, like on top of your toes, right? So the overall material is pretty dang nice. And now moving on to the fit. So I went up half a size, and this shoe fits me pretty well. It just kind of sucks because serious player only, like all their shoes fit a little bit weird to me. All right, I went true to size in the mid, and like it's just so freaking stiff right over here where my pinky toe is, and it kind of hurts, right? But here in this shoe, it's a little bit softer for the material, so I don't really mind that as much. It's just there is a little bit of length because I did go up half a size, right? So if you want to be a little bit more on the safer side of things, then you should go up half a size. And for me, I don't really mind going up half a size, first of all, because of the laces, right? The actual eyelets go all the way here into the toe box. So let me get a regular shoe for you guys, right? So a regular shoe like the Lyric 5, you know, you can see the difference at how low the actual like first eyelet goes down here into the toe box. And because of that, you can actually tighten the toe box, like the fit here on top of your toes, a little bit more. So I don't really mind the extra length as much, you know what I mean, because of that. And you can customize the fit a little bit more to your foot, you know. So yeah, if you want to be a little bit on the safer side of things, then go up half a size. If you know what size you are in the Player One Plus, for example, then you can go the exact same size here in the GAME1 Low. And again, if you do go true to size, it might be a little bit narrow, so just be careful with that, right? But for me, you know, going up half a size, it's, you know, it's nice and snug. It is kind of narrow, but it does have a little bit of length, which I don't mind because of the customizable fit, right? So there is the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown, I mean, this shoe feels really nice, right? So first of all, like I said, you do have the raised sidewall from the drop-in midsole, and also for lateral containment, we do have this plastic piece, and that comes up here in the midfoot, and also the overall material does feel pretty stiff and supportive here. You know what I mean? You do have these underlaying materials. It is kind of glued down, right? We do have an internal TPU heel counter as well. So lateral support feels good. Lateral stability feels good as well. Like you can see just how wide the shoe is, right? And yeah, the overall lockdown feels really good as well, especially with the kind of like silicone material on top of the drop-in. So support and lockdown feels good. It does feel a little bit less supportive though than the mid, because the overall shoe is just so much freaking stiffer. Like, look at this, so much stiffer. The upper is so much stiffer, you know what I mean? So it does feel a little bit less supportive than the GAME1 mid, but it still feels very supportive, right? Especially comparing to shoes with a drop-in midsole like the Kobe 8, Kobe 9. Those shoes are really a flexible and nimble feeling. This one is a little bit stiffer feeling than that, right? So there is the support and lockdown there. Moving on to the weight of the shoe, right? So this shoe, they're saying it is the lightest shoe that they've ever made. And it feels extremely freaking light, right? So it's 9.85 ounces, guys. That's extremely freaking light. The next lightest shoe that I've ever weighed is the Ultralight 2025, and it comes in at like 8 ounces, which is like no other basketball shoe has gone to the 8-ounce range, and no other shoe right now goes to the 9-ounce range, right? So it's the Ultralight 2025 at 8 ounces, this shoe at 9 ounces, and all the other shoes that are very lightweight are like 10.2 ounces, I think, right? Something like that. Let's check the other shoe. Comes in at 10 ounces, right? So 10 ounces and 9.85 ounces. So that is extremely freaking light. Let's check it with the mid. Yeah, 13.55 ounces. So they shed off a crazy amount of weight, which is really hard to do, and they did a really good job. This shoe feels so freaking lightweight, but also has a nice bit of support to it. You know what I mean? Like, it feels way better than like the Luka 4s, the Sabrina 2s, you know, the Jaw 2s, which are extremely, you know, nimble and flexible feeling. I feel like they added a little bit more stiffness to the overall shoe, while still having a good amount of flex and a responsiveness to it, it feels like, right? The traction feels really nice. The cushion feels nice and bouncy and comfortable. We'll have to see on if it feels a little mushy though. And also the upper feels really minimal too. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to try these out, right? And it feels, again, like more like a guard shoe than the GAME1 Mid, right? And now moving on to the aesthetics, I feel like it's okay. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like it's okay. You know, I definitely feel like the Player One Plus just looks better. But this colorway definitely does look nice though, right? I really like kind of like the light blue color, you know, the aqua blue or whatever. So tell us what you guys think of these aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, this shoe is feeling really freaking nice, and I'm very excited to try them out. And they feel so much better than the GAME1 Mid in my personal opinion. You know, I don't really like playing these too much, but yeah, it just feels so different. You know what I mean? Coming from the mid to the low, but yeah, they changed up the tech a lot, and again, it feels way better for me because again, I am a guard. I do prioritize more like a lighter, more minimal feeling shoe, you know. And also, again, I am very excited about the traction with the polyurethane resin. So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the GAME1 Low. Again, if you guys do want to copy, try to leave in the free link in the description box, but that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.